Do you have a dream in your heart that feels absolutely impossible? The feeling that there's absolutely no way I can possibly do this is actually the first indicator that you have a God-sized goal in front of you. Today, we're breaking down why God gives us tasks that are so much bigger than our talents and how He's been secretly preparing you for such a time as this. Through every struggle you have faced in your past, you aren't stuck, you're in training. And by the end of today, you'll walk away knowing why God has called you and how you can accomplish anything with His help. So stay tuned. Ordinary women, extraordinary faith. When God calls, we say yes. The Arise Women of God podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Arise Women of God podcast. I'm your host, Tamara K. and joining me are two amazing women from Women Warriors of Light, Wendi Christensen, my co-founder, and Jen Brewer. And today we're going to look at the anatomy of looking at a God-sized goal. First, we're going to define what a God-sized goal is and what it actually looks like. Second, we'll talk a little bit about the story of David and why your current struggles are actually your secret weapons. And finally, we'll show you how to have the confidence to take the first right step when you're actually feeling kind of overwhelmed. All right, let's get on to defining what a God-sized goal is and what it looks like.
What comes to my mind, and when I work with different organizations who are restructuring or trying to grow, we start with, we call them BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goal. The goal that you look at and think, say what? No way. And God says, way. Yes, that's what we're going to do.
I totally feel that. Wendi, any thoughts?
I think it's when God places something on your heart that seems completely impossible, but He's telling you to do it. And you think, how in the world am I going to do this? How am I going to accomplish this big, huge, massive task in my life? And it just looks absolutely impossible. That's a God-sized goal. And somehow you have to figure it out and muddle through it with His grace.
Oh my goodness, you guys, it's so true. This God often places something on our heart that we just simply cannot do all by ourselves. But when we look at the history of the world, that is exactly how He has always worked. God actually specializes in the impossible, as these next few stories share. And so I thought we could maybe pause and look at people in Scripture who have also had these BHAGs, as Jen said, or these God-sized goals placed in front of them, and they just went to work. And a couple of the people who came to mind as I was looking at this and thinking about this were obviously Noah and the ark, Moses and the children of Israel, Esther. Oh my goodness, right? Which of these stories would you like to talk about first that you feel really resonates with this? Jen, why don't you start?
I love the Noah story because build an ark. It wasn't raining when he built the ark. No conditions. Totally against society. Like withstood mocking, withstood, you're a fool, you're a visionary, you're so off, what are you thinking? For over 100 years. Like that's a long time to build when you don't see clouds in the sky and you don't see, okay, is this really coming? I'm sure he had more than a few nights of, maybe I am crazy. What is happening here? So I can relate to him quite a bit.
I love that Jen mentioned that Noah built for 100 years without a cloud in sight. Sometimes we feel like we're just waiting for our mission to start, but the truth is waiting is often part of the work. And so if you look closely at the life of King David, you will find that his work didn't actually start in the palace. It started in a lonely field full of sheep. Jen.
I think of David. He was ordained to be a king and then sent out to go care for the sheep. And he didn't go from there to the palace. He went and spent years and years just sitting caring for sheep. Oh, but while he was there, he had to wrestle a lion and he had to wrestle a bear, and he became extremely proficient with his slingshot. Just, and I'm sure all of that, he was sitting there. I'm sure there were times he was like, huh? My life does not make sense. And then he got asked to take lunch to his brothers. And, oh, wait, there's a giant. Oh, okay. I guess it's time for me to step up and kill the giant.
We often view our past struggles as detours or maybe mistakes. But as Jen just shared, those lions and bears were actually David's training ground. This shift in perspective actually changes everything. It means that the hard thing God put in your lap 10 years ago might be the very key to the goal God is putting in your lap today.
So I work with childhood malnutrition. Great, right? Just a little tiny drop in the sea of malnutrition in the world. And I work in this tiny little area of the world, Guatemala, and kept going back and kept going back and kept going back. And my mission was there. And so I thought, oh, I'm obsessed because of I lived there for a while and I just love these people. And it's like 15 years later, I'm pregnant with number 7 and dragging my kids back there. And I'm like, what? Why am I doing this? I just need to be a mom. And I was having a fight with God in the shower. And I said, just take this out of my heart because I need to focus on being a mom. Those were just my glory days of when I lived in Guatemala. And I got kind of a thump on the head. And he said, no, I sent you there then so that you would help them now. And okay, that was like a whoosh. Finally opened myself up to what's the bigger picture? And all of a sudden, so here's where it gets from, yeah, this is nice and I can do this, I have training in this, to no, here's what I need you to do. You need to prepare the world for the second coming. And I was like, that's a little above my pay grade. So, but it was essentially, no, you are making a big piece in how the world is going to be prepared for when Christ returns. And suddenly that's a whole lot bigger than, oh, I'm going to go work on some gardens and malnutrition projects. Suddenly the vision is, oh, like this is a massive goal that requires, it's not just me. And I've since found myself in different situations where, oh, yeah, I can make a massive difference in not only this world, but the entire humanitarian world. And, oh, okay, God, I get it.
Isn't that powerful? God sent you then so that you could help now. When we realize God is actually the architect and we are only the stewards, the pressure to be perfect disappears. It's not about our capacity. It's about His.
Well, and the beautiful thing about that too, Jen, is that God knows, like you're seeing and realizing how He can use you. But the beautiful part is He knows how to use you. And then He has confidence in Jen can play this part. And she has these gifts and talents. And I know she can. So I'm calling upon her. And then you stepped into that. It just shows too what a loving God that we have that knows each one of us individually and then knows what part we can play. And that kind of that goes right into the Mark 10:27 that I love. And Jesus looking upon them saith, with men it is impossible, but not with God, for with God all things are possible.
All right, ladies, if you're ready to stop mulling through the impossible and start moving forward with God, I want to give you a tool here. We've created a guide to goal setting for Christian women that includes our amazing not to-do list when you have too much on your plate, which is one of my favorite hacks because it gives you more time to accomplish what you need to do. And also the Don't Quit Emergency Kit for those hard days when you feel like you want to give up. Click the link in the description below and you can grab this for free on our Women Warriors of Light website. Until next time, remember you were born for such a time as this, and these big goals God is placing in your mind and in your heart are completely achievable with Him. May you arise, do it God's way, God strong. Thanks for tuning in to the Arise Women of God podcast brought to you by Women Warriors of Light. If you're feeling unsure how to move forward in your calling or just tired of doing it alone, visit womenwarriorsoflight.com. You'll find resources, accountability, and a community of women who get it. Sometimes the calling feels bigger than you. That's when you need steady reminders of the powerful God who called you. Subscribe now for weekly inspiration and the courage to keep going, because with Him, nothing is impossible. And you're not the only one God is calling. That friend on your heart right now, share this episode with her. Your small act of obedience could be the breakthrough she's been praying for. Until next time, may you arise, walk God's way, and stand God strong.